Hey, what's up, guys? I figured I would pleasantly surprise you with a leg day, with a workout, with a YouTube video, because it's been a very long time. I think my last YouTube video was earlier this year. It's been a very long time. I did a full contest prep, didn't post a single damn video. I have all the footage, all the workouts, and I've posted none of them. But let's just start with today. And before we get into where I've been and how life's been and whatnot, let's just enjoy this leg day video where I want to share with you guys my current approach to leg training, at least with this specific workout. And, of course, if you follow me on Instagram, you probably have a decent idea of how I've been training these days and where I've been. But, with YouTube, I'd like to start sharing more of my full workouts just so that if it benefits a single person, that's cool with me. And if someone learns something or it betters their training, then I'm happy. So let's dive into today's leg workout. All right, guys, so exercise 1, we get the barbell back squat. For a year, almost 2 years, I wasn't doing barbell back squats simply because I fell in love with Smith squats and hack squats, and I was really just focusing on hammering those movements. I'm very happy and pleased to be back to back squatting. There's just something about it. When I'm doing it regularly, my whole life feels better. So here we are, starting with the back squat, doing 3 sets of RR3. That just means 3 sets of, until I have about 3 reps in the tank. Still very hard training, just leaving some in the tank for future weeks so that I can slowly add more reps, slowly add more load, and have more room to make that sort of incremental progress within a mesocycle before I really hit the edge and I'm, hitting failure or close to it and I have to kind of deload or start backing off a bit. So that's sort of how I've been training a mesocycle style, about 5 weeks on, 1 week deload. Now, with the squatting here, last week I did 2 sets. This week I'm doing 3 sets. And next week I'm not going to do 4 sets, but I'll probably do another week of 3 sets. And slowly within a mesocycle, just mesocycle meaning a group of 4 to 12 weeks, usually about 5 with 5 and a deload week afterwards. Typically I'll slowly kind of sprinkle in, okay, 1 week, maybe another set of this exercise here, that exercise there. The next week, maybe the other exercise I'll add to, but not these, and maybe I'll train just a little bit closer to failure. So that's kind of how I take training on as a more advanced lifter where, I can't just simply add 5 pounds absolutely to every lift. I can't just infinitely add reps to a given weight. But I can do it from a mesocycle to mesocycle basis when I start a mesocycle with a little bit of room to push, a little bit of room to grow, so to speak. So when it comes to this mesocycle to mesocycle approach, where I'm leaving more on the tank towards the beginning, training close to hitting failure, towards the end, there's no plateau. I'm always progressing. I'm always progressing unless I'm like crazy lean or I get injured or I catch Rona or something like that. So that's how I like to approach the training. 3 sets of a load between 6 and 10 reps, 3 reps in the tank, done. Next exercise, we're doing quad focused Bulgarian split squats. Quad focused Bulgarian split squats. How does that look? Well, what I like to do is I like to create the setup before I ever beginning a first set. So find that right setup for you and one that allows a ton of forward knee travel. You also notice that I kind of shift the center of gravity forward as I descend instead of the opposite direction, which you would do with the dumbbell Bulgarian split squat for your glutes. This one's for the quads. So I'm kind of descending towards my toes rather than back towards the bench a little bit. And there's a lot less. There's like no hip hinge here really, where you would have that in a Bulgarian for your glutes. And you'll also notice that just tons of forward knee drive. Something I like to do when I'm doing unilateral work is, of course, hit all reps with one side, but then split my rest period between the 2 legs rather than hitting my right side and then hitting my left side with my body fatigued and exhausted. And typically, unless you left tons of reps in the tank on this one, aka training not hard, you're going to have some decreased performance, or you'll be training closer to failure with the same amount of reps with this leg. And it won't be limited by the actual muscle, be limited by you're just exhausted. So one tip for Bulgarians, when you're doing a single leg like this, is split that 3-minute rest period, one half. So hit your right leg, rest a minute and a half, hit your left leg. Or, I recommend even more than that. Hit your right leg, rest 1.5 to maybe even 2 minutes. Hit your left leg, rest 1.5 to maybe 2 minutes. And of course, if you have 2 kids and a wife like me, then you probably might not be able to afford that much time. So do your best with what you have. But when it comes to progressing and getting stronger, and acquiring growth through that method of simply seeing the weight on paper go up with good form, it can be expensive time wise when you start trying to maximize your rest periods. Now we did 2 sets of this exercise today, just 2 sets. If I was giving an arbitrary workout, just throwing random numbers, you could just say pretty much 3 sets for each of these exercises. Though for Bulgarians, especially if it's your first time doing them, probably start with like just 1 or 2 sets, because you're going to get a lot of muscle damage, a lot of soreness, but also a lot of stimulation, simply just from doing one hard set of them. So I think that's also a big issue, is that a lot of times people, especially when they start an exercise like a Bulgarian, they'll start with 3, 4, 5 hard work sets. And that might be okay if you're like a complete beginner and you're doing like no weight. But say you've already built a solid amount of strength and you're jumping into this new exercise or whatever, start with less rather than more, okay? Especially if you're intermediate to an advanced lifter, you're starting a new mesocycle with this exercise, do like 1 or 2 sets, because you can get away with that and still be getting growth from that. That's another kind of one of my philosophies with training, is I'll begin the mesocycle with, not a ton of work, so that I'm still getting growth with less work, but then over the mesocycle, start increasing things from that base level of volume, whatever it might have been. Usually just like 2 sets per exercise, usually 3 for the calves. But anyways, moving over to seated leg curls, which I definitely love. I prefer these over the lying leg curls. I do both generally throughout the year, but typically if I can only do one leg curl, it'd be this one. Something you'll see here, good full range of motion, really controlling the eccentric. And one thing I like to implement maybe every other or every 2 of 3 mesocycles for hamstring curls are basically slow ramp up concentrics. So here, although it may not look like it, I'm not blasting out from the stretch position. I'm actually kind of somewhat slowly, gradually increasing the force, almost like I'm putting my foot on the gas like this, more like this, rather than like that. So kind of the same way if you were in a hurry to get somewhere and your front of the red light turns green, you wouldn't necessarily slam your foot on the floor. You kind of, gradually start it, and then you press it harder as you get some momentum. As you start moving, then you kind of, go there, so to speak. So that's something to try with hamstring curls. I think it's definitely worth a try. I personally, it makes it obviously much more difficult. You still end up applying maximum force, so you're still kind of, you're not necessarily leaving muscle fibers untapped, so to speak. And especially if you're controlling that eccentric, you're not missing out on anything by not flooring it at the start of the concentric. I actually think you'll probably get more out of the movement and probably isolate your hamstrings just a bit better. Now, calves are the most butchered exercise in the world. And like I said earlier, 3 sets on the hamstring curl. Last week I did 2. This week I did 3. And each week I'll typically either add a little bit more volume or I'll train a rep closer to failure. And typically what I'll also do is I'm always increasing the performance. It's just that relative intensity, proximity to failure, how hard I'm pushing it, is something that I slowly drip in from week to week. Now with these calves, you can notice I'm counting, like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, usually about 3 Mississippi at the bottom and during the eccentric. And I give myself at least a Mississippi at the top as well. 3 sets, or actually I did 4 sets of calves, cable crunches. Typically I face the other direction, but it wasn't feeling too well. I was having a lot of core issues from my experience with COVID. So that was another reason why, getting back into barbell squatting was kind of hard. And that's a whole video on its own, is just my COVID experience back in early September. But quick summary, like, it wasn't terrible, but it was not pleasant at all. And since I started to get in kind of a hurry here, what I did was, instead of doing 3 individual sets, I broke this set down into myo-reps. So first set, somewhere between 10 and 20 reps. Usually I like to hit my first set around 15 when it comes to abs in general. And I was about to turn the camera off, but I decided, okay, let me just do some myo-reps. So what you do for myo-reps is, instead of doing, say you have 3 or 4 sets planned, take that first set between 10 to 20 reps towards failure, and then rest between 5 to 15 seconds. Usually about 5 to 15 seconds. And it might have been a little bit more here. I'm not sure. Might have been about 20 seconds. But here I am going back into the set and aim for anywhere between 5 to 10 reps. If you wanted to kind of maximize your energy, your effort, your time, you would rest just long enough to hit about 5 to 6 reps. And the reason this can be helpful for hypertrophy is you're essentially beginning the set as if you had already done the first, say if you hit failure, if you're completely rested, about 15 reps, the last 5 are those effective reps, right, with the most amount of tension. And that's where really the growth, the stimulus comes from, is the effective reps. That's what makes a set effective, is if you get to those reps and accumulate those reps. And there's typically about 5 per set. So if you were rushed for time, you can sort of jump straight to those effective reps by not resting as long. Starting the set with only about 5, 6, 7 reps, 8 reps. So yeah, I usually like to do 15 reps and then rest just a little bit, 6 reps, rest just a little bit, about 6 reps. And again, I'm taking it to an RIR goal, a reps in reserve goal, an intensity goal of about 3 reps in reserve. Might have been 2 on that one, but I slowly increased that, or decreased that technically, from week to week. Another myo-rep set here with wrist curls. Picked a weight I could do for 10 to 20 reps, generally that mid to high range, 15 to 20. And then drop it on the floor, rest about 10 to 15 seconds, pick it back up, and go for 5 to 10. And like I said, typically when I do this, it ends up being like 15 and then sets of 6. That's usually my sweet spot where I like to have it. Sometimes you'll rest a little bit too little, and you'll end up doing a set of like 4. But that just gives you some instant feedback that, okay, maybe rest just a little bit longer for this. You're probably wondering, why am I doing freaking forearms at all, or especially during this leg day? I just decided to program it for this mesocycle, just for funsies. I think my training group, Ogusdaily, we're all really enjoying it. This is our second mesocycle training forearms. We did it last mesocycle. We're doing it this mesocycle. And as we're approaching the end of this video, let me think if there's anything else I want to say about this particular workout. With legs, you don't necessarily have to destroy all the muscles in one particular workout. You could have 2 leg days in a week, and that's typically what I recommend. And you might have a more quad focused leg day like this is, and then a more ham and glute focused leg day, which the other one is. And the same thing can be for back. You might have a more lat focused back day, and then you might have a more upper back focused lat day. upper back focused back day. And that could be for how you approach, something like your chest. You might have a more upper chest focused chest day or push day, or more shoulder focused push day, so on and so forth. There's so many different ways to program. If you want to follow exactly how I program, I have something called the Ogusdaily, and there will be a link in the bio for that. So that's pretty much the end of the workout, guys. Not a crazy sophisticated workout. That's pretty much it. All right, guys, until next time, thank you for watching this video. Do me a favor and smash the like button like you smashed. See you guys in the next video. By the way, Black Friday sale on Gymshark right now, link below, and possibly a Black Friday sale on Ogusdaily and VIXEN, my 2 training programs for men and women respectively. Ogusdaily is my exact programming. It's what I'm doing, literally what I'm doing, pushed out to you through a beautiful app, Train Heroic, and comes with form checks, group chats, the whole 9 yards, super awesome. And same thing with VIXEN, same thing, but it's a 4-day women's only program. I've never had a sale on these, so if I am having one, it'll be just for Black Friday, and I'll put more information below. I have so much competition and like shredded workout footage and tips and all this cool stuff that are on my hard drives, and I'd like to slowly be, dropping it out for you guys, because I think you guys will really love that. So if there's anything specifically you would like help on, or you want to know, or you want me to cover, leave a comment below, and I'll see you next time.